Anyway, this night is in particularly for this video. I had some friends come over, and I had really been in the depths of prayer of, God, please deliver me from this weed. I don't want to smoke weed anymore. I want to live long. And I had tasted God in church and felt what he tasted like in my heart, and I wanted more of God in my life, and I just couldn't seem to put this weed down. Anyway, I got really drunk, and I got really drunk, and these people, my old friends, I haven't talked to them since this has happened, and I grew up with this girl, and they had this synthetic marijuana, and they didn't tell me that's what it was. All they said was, don't smoke it like weed. And in my mind, I'm like, what do you mean don't smoke weed like weed? I'm gonna smoke it like weed. And apparently you're not supposed to inhale this stuff. I took about 3 huge hits off of this stuff. I remember everything in my body shutting down. I remember feeling completely paralyzed. And a lot of people will say, well, there's no medical, terms that pronounced that you were dead or whatever. But I know in the depths of my soul, I know in my heart, I know with all that I am, where I was and where I went. And I don't want anybody, even the worst person on the face of the earth, I would not want them to go to hell. And that's where I went. I remember everything shutting down in my body. I remember as soon as I felt what was happening, I said, God, 3 times, God, God. And then I said Jesus 3 times. And I screamed his name loud. I said, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And I just knew what was happening. I remember falling to the ground, but as I was falling, I kind of fell on my friend. I yanked her hair a little bit as I was falling, and I remember her kind of shoving me into the vehicle, and that's all I remember as far as earth happened. And I thoroughly remember it felt like somebody took my soul and threw it into outer darkness. And I remember literally feeling that I became hell. I was in hell. I was hell. I became hell. I remember feeling like I was touched by every sin of the world. And the thought came to me that this is what Jesus felt. When I was there, I knew where I was, and I couldn't speak. The fear was so great. The fear was so great. You were literally paralyzed by fear. I couldn't move. I had no authority to move. It was as though I was glued to hell's surface. And my spirit kept saying, my conscience, everything around me kept saying, me in hell? But I'm a good person. But I'm a good person. And that's all that was happening, and I couldn't believe that I was in hell. And a lot of people may think you're just hallucinating, whatever. There's been so many people, teenagers, die on this synthetic marijuana, and I pray with all that I am that they be released. If they did go to hell, I pray that they said a prayer of repentance before they took their last breath. But I know that it was not a hallucination. I remember being surrounded by actual demons. They were speaking in a different language. I was not able to interpret what they were saying. I just remember I had no way out, no authority to run or anything. I thoroughly remember that I was literally going to be eaten by them. I'm not kidding. I'm not lying. That's the only thing I knew. And I've read up on other stories and other things happening to people when they've gone to hell, and they have said the same thing. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what happened to me. And so, anyway, it felt as though I had been there for, I'm not kidding, a billion infinity years. And come to find out, later on, I had only been out in my flesh for about 15 to 20 minutes. I remember that there's a lot of feelings that I can't, like, relive or okay, it's hard to say this. There's a lot of remembrance that I knew happened that was taken away from me now. I would think that if it was still there, I wouldn't be able to function in life. That's how much torment there is in hell. It's not a place for God's people. It's a place for Satan and his demons and his fallen angels. God did not create that place for people. And I wouldn't wish for anybody to go there. Like I said, not even the worst person on the earth to go there. I have been very, very blessed since then. I have been sober since that day, 3/3/13, and it is now September 29th, 2017. I haven't picked up pot at all. I haven't done any drugs. And believe me, I was the biggest drug addict you can think of. As a teenager, I started smoking pot heavily when I was 12. I stopped in my early 20s only because that happened. Had there been nothing else happen like that, I probably wouldn't have been strong enough in my spirit and in my flesh to quit, because I liked it. And this wasn't even pot. This was synthetic marijuana. I urge you, I encourage you, if you come across this, think twice, because you may not come back. A lot of kids think, oh, this is fun, let's get high. I could tell you right now, there is a greater high that God can give you, and it's His love that surpasses all understanding, His acceptance. He takes us as we are. Anyway, I'll leave it at that.